Hey, I'm Dean, and today I wanted to share a bit of my story with you on my walk with Christ. I grew up in a Christian home in Australia, Christian both my mum and dad's side, and grew up going to church. It's all I knew to do. I went to kids' church, I went to youth. I loved it. I was a leader for many years, young adults, and was just happy living out my Christian life, being Christian at school, being Christian everywhere. But something changed one day when I realized I hadn't read the Bible for myself. I'd heard every single story from David and Goliath to Jonah in the whale to the Prince of Egypt, you name it. And it seemed a bit repetitious to me. And I was like, surely there's more to this that I haven't heard. And my parents were like, you should read the Bible cover to cover. There's so many books in there that you probably never heard about, Dean, from Haggai, Amos, Jude, Habakkuk. Often we just know the Gospels, and there was so much I hadn't read from the Old Testament to the New Testament. So I decided to do some digging. As a young adult, I decided to read, and I'd never liked reading growing up. I don't think I finished one or two books throughout my whole schooling, like fully finished reading them. So I was like, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start with the New Testament, and I'm going to go back and read the Old Testament. And words cannot describe what it did to my life. People ask me, like, what did you get from it? And I often tell them it's not what I got, it's what I lost, like what left me. I lost my anger, I lost my complacency, I lost my jealousy, I lost my desire for like worldly things. All my friends were getting new cars and finishing this and doing that, and I just could not get enough of reading the Word. And it transformed me in a way where I didn't care so much about myself, but it made me care about the world more and more about the fact that I was realizing how many people hadn't read the book, how many people hadn't had the transformational experience that I had had. And in that process, from going to churches, meeting new people, and talking to them about the Word and what books they loved and what it had done for them and how they'd seen it transform their life from the inside out, it actually drove me to want to go overseas, to want to serve God, the God that I read about in my Bible, where all of his disciples traveled and they preached the gospel and they saw the book come alive. And I really wanted that. So I decided to join an organization called YWAM and go overseas. I went to like 6 or 7 countries over 2 years, and the amount of experiences I had and the journey I went on was incredible. But the biggest thing for me was this book that we think about was written a couple thousand years ago, which, in our technology age isn't really relevant, people say. But for me, I had never seen the Word become so real. Like, I'd be reading something one morning, wanting to get in the Bible before I started the day, went out into South Korea or the Philippines, and literally what I'd read had happened in front of me. And for the first time ever, this book came alive. It didn't just transform me from the inside out, it transformed the way in which I interacted with the world. And I just couldn't help but tell people about it. I couldn't help but lead people to the same experiences I'd had. And that just really caused me to be like, people need to hear, but they need to read the Bible if you haven't. Some people have read one book, some people have read a few books. But what it's done for me, I pray that it would do for every single person. So I want to challenge you. If you haven't read the Bible, start reading it. Or if you maybe have read one or two books, or you know the kind of general Gospels, go and read the books that you haven't. Like, Google certain ones that you haven't read, like Habakkuk or Amos, and go and read through them and see what you can learn, because there's so much in it. And it led me to go and meet so many people around the world and transform my life. And I wish that for every single one of you. So I want to challenge you once again. If you haven't, go deep with God in the Bible, because it changed my life, and I really hope it'll change yours. God bless you.